What's up, everyone? This is King Crypto today with some good news to try to brighten your day up, which is kind of hard to do today since this was the worst day in crypto. Apparently, this is the lowest price in the market cap that we've seen all of 2018. And when I look at these prices, I kind of feel like I'm taking a trip back to October 2017 when these prices were really good, right? So it's interesting to note that. But I want to say a few things, and I want to talk about a bear market and how long it usually runs for in the crypto space. It feels like it's never ending, it's an onslaught. But unfortunately, if you ever had a bad time in life, a bad period, it also feels like that's going to go on forever. I can tell you there's been periods in my life like that, and then it turns around, and I'm having a good period. And I think cryptocurrency is like that, but it's like the bipolar version of that. uh, so, and let's not talk too much about volatility because Facebook lost $120 billion of value in like 20 minutes. Does that even make sense? Like a few weeks ago. That's more than Bitcoin's total market cap that it lost in 20 minutes. So let's not get into that whole thing. It's just the way cryptos work. It is indeed volatile, but the payoff is always large. It's hard to deal with the bipolarity of it. But if you can deal with that and ignore it, you usually can win in the end. Now, Bitcoin is 68% from its all-time high right now. And I think that's an important thing to recognize because it really fits well with the statistics of a bear market. Bitcoin's past all-time lows from all-time highs have been uh, respectively 93%, 72% two times, and 68% in the last bear market. Now, if you divide this by 4, you get a statistical mean of 76%. And you can see the price or the all-time low has decreased. This one stayed the same, but 93, 72, 68. Keeps going down a little bit because of more people that are invested. At least that's what it seems like. Now, we're at 68% yet again. It's going to go down to 69%. I think it's gone down to like 70. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it's definitely been in the 70 percentile range. So that means that if it's based on historical data, that's what's going to happen eventually. Very soon, I just think if we have to keep dealing with these kind of prices, it's eventually going to come back just based on the statistics of cryptocurrencies and how they work. I think a lot of people are just waiting for the cue to get back in. Okay, so also we could talk about the historical mean, which is a huge payoff. Yet again, it's interesting because the historical increase seems to go, it hasn't really gone down by much. 2,900% is pretty large, but I believe that's when Bitcoin was like 6 cents to like $30. So, that's pretty absurd. But as it gets more, as it grows in value, we're going to see this decrease as well because we can't, well, we could print infinite money, but most likely not everyone's going to buy Bitcoin no matter what. But we saw the last bull run, it was 1,800%, okay, at 20,000. So Bitcoin's all-time low was like 5,800 from that all-time high of 20,000. It would be at 58,000, and that would be like 1,000% of a bull run. And I think we could see that go up to 100K, is time telling. So that's not the point of this video, though. I still want to talk about the bear market. The average bear market is around 315 days, and that's if we say that this one's going to last 300. So that's one thing to consider. These bear markets last almost a year. That's really what I'm trying to say. And I took this guy's information, Christoph Atlas, because he talked about the bear market as it goes away from its all-time high. So we're in a bull market, and once the all-time high is broken, bear market time. So it's a little bit easier for me because no one we say there's a bear market, but it's hard to really say, is it because the EMA, the 200 EMA is crossed, or is it from all-time high? So I'm just going with all-time high. And if we're saying that, we are 8 months into the bear market. Okay? And if we look at the calculations of every bear market, we can see that it lasts typically 11 months. And this is counting the Mount Gox hack, all that crazy shit that went down a few years ago. That was like a nuke essentially going off on the whole crypto space. A lot of people, that was probably the best time to say Bitcoin truly was dead. And it didn't even die from that. So let's keep that in mind too. We're in a bear market at a time when all these partnerships are coming out. Clearly, there's a lot of interest. It's just we have to acknowledge that we are in a bear market right now. And that's the name of the game. There's nothing we can do about that. You can't artificially destroy this current unless there's an ETF that comes out or you just let time do its thing. So, and if we don't count the Mt. Gox catastrophe, the bear market tends to last about 4 months. But I don't want to count that. I want to stick with, or I do want to count the Mt. Gox because it's all part of Bitcoin's overall historical data. So it makes sense that in my mind that Bitcoin will probably stay in a bear market for about a few more months. Typically, like I made in a video before, we'll see in September. September-ish is the date at which Bitcoin starts its climb, ascension yet again. It does this a lot, almost every year except, it has actually done it every year except 2014, from the inception of this graph at least, from what I've observed. So, based on that, based on the overall length of a bear run, I mean 300 days doesn't have to be, or 315, 11 months, doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what's going to happen. And the standard deviation, if you know what that is, that would tell you that these numbers aren't very closely linked together. You know, it's kind of random, feels like. So, if we give it some time, 9 months sounds about right. In this bear market, it makes sense. But it could extend into October, November. However, let's say we're in a bear market that whole year. 2019, in my opinion, is probably going to be, if not most definitely, the year when we see another bull market. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be if everything's going in Bitcoin's favor right now. So that's essentially just what I wanted to talk about today. It's important to notice these character traits when people start really hating on Bitcoin, because I've seen this a lot lately. I don't know if I talked about this yet, but on Twitter, on YouTube, the comments are really getting nasty. At least not on me, thank God. I have really nice subscribers, but it's looking bad. People are really starting to hate Bitcoin. And that's usually the period when it's best to buy Bitcoin. If you want to consider fundamental analysis, that's the best time to do it. This guy here, Manseller, was saying, I was there buying Bitcoin every month at these prices. Oh, and this is based on the bear market of 2014-15 with the whole Mt. Gox craziness. And he said I was buying these prices at $230, and I saw it crash all the way down from $1,200. While the rest cried about it and said Bitcoin was dead, I was buying. Now do the math and tell me it didn't pay off. This was on September 21st. Bitcoin was around $4,000 at that point. So even on his watch, this is a better price now than it was even back then. So all in all, you got to understand that this is the way it's going to go. But a bull run is around the corner. This is a blip in time. Okay, Bitcoin's going to be here for a long time. There's no reason for it to just disappear, right? We know that it works. We know that it works well. It's a little slow. Well, it's really slow. But these problems are being solved at the moment. And to me, this is what we have to consider. Instead of freaking out, thinking that this is the end, the more you see people acting like that, the more you should be aware that there's a lot of money that you're about to make. At least that's to me. But I am just a YouTuber, not a financial advisor, so keep that in mind. Alright guys, I'm going to go to the next segment of my video. Please stick around, comment on what you think about this project, and you could win some Litecoin, which I will be giving away. But you've got to talk about the topic and leave your Litecoin address below. Alright guys, now I'm going to talk a little bit about XMAX, some updates that they've had, and full disclosure, this was a paid promotion. However, they are doing a lot of cool things, and for their rank of 534, I can tell you it wouldn't take very much for them to grow at this pace. So they offer a lot of things that Ethereum does not. They have coding that makes it a lot easier to create a decentralized app than Ethereum. They also have faster transaction times or speeds. So, as we can see, the market cap is 5 million. They have a circulating supply of 5 billion. And they have a total market cap or a total supply of 30 billion. As you can see, $1 equals 1,000 of these. So they're really cheap. And I mean, not financial advice, but you really never know with coins like this if they have a reputation when they start creating decentralized apps that are really useful, how much that can influence in the future. So that's just my take, but I'm not a financial advisor. But let's jump into it a little bit. We can see that when I first reviewed them, their website was horrible looking. It looked really bad, but they definitely did a better job. And this is actually supposed to be an animation, but it's not working. So that's not my fault. That's their fault. I don't know what that's all about, but it still looks way better than it used to. A lot more of a sleek background and cleaner. It just looks cleaner, and they are much better at describing what they're doing. And it's really specifically for entertainment dApps. So you can see some of the features that they have: X Packet System, Developer SDK, and these are all tools that allow people to really create high-functioning dApps with them. You can see that their high TPS really comes in handy, especially when we talk about Ethereum's times, which is not really has to be fixed. So, okay, as well, you can see their developer tools. Like I said, the JavaScript-based development language, XMAX 3D game engine, and XMAX Studio SDK. And they also have templates that people can use when they're creating an app. So it makes it a lot easier for them. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like trying to create a store, and Shopify already has all the templates and has your store really easily organized. So in a sense, it's like that. And you can see the roadmap looks a lot better as well. They're mainly trying to create a consensus mechanism based on VRF. In 2009, they want to implement it. No, I'm sorry, it's the other way. Implement consensus mechanism and then create the consensus mechanism. That doesn't make any sense. What? How? If you're implementing it, didn't you already create it? I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. See, there's a language barrier too. They're from, I believe, China. So there's some spelling errors, which is probably the biggest pet peeve when it comes to this, because if you're trying to get somebody's money, you should at least have a really good, website or something. Create tisk. But aside from that, they do have a lot to offer, and this is their node map that they actually have in place right now. And we could see by 2019, they will optimize the testing framework for 2,100 nodes. So just to give you an idea of what exists right now, we can see that. Their team, blah, blah, blah. Yep, I talked about all this. And they got a lot of institutional investors that are highly regarded. So that definitely does add some legitimacy for them. So we can also talk about first ever XMAX ecosystem launched at the World Blockchain Forum Summit. this happened actually on June 8th, but I never talked about it. It's a pretty impressive feat that they were able to introduce a bunch of decentralized apps that usually most companies that are kind of like this, where they want to create decentralized apps, they don't usually have these many that they're working on all at once. You can see Compass X, CBD, Saturn Chain, Caring Chain, Yang Chain, FAC, U Live, BitKeep, True DEA, Huacheng, Travel Bank, Block Dino, and Cry World Cup. Now, I don't know what any of these are, clearly, because they're new, but we should, with that much work to do, it's kind of impressive to see that they're doing this on a budget that's of a market cap of like 5 million. And they're smart to reach out to American influencers like myself, and there's plenty of others on YouTube, although they won't admit it. It's pretty obvious when someone's promoting something and they're not saying it. But they are doing that pretty effectively, and just hearing this from other people, hearing it a few times around, even if they're paid it or not, it's in your mind, and you know it exists. And that's always better than not knowing it exists and ignoring it or just never hearing of it. And we can see the image of how third-party DApp ecology works. One thing I would like to point out is I think XMAX could do a lot better in simplifying what they're trying to say, because it gets a little convoluted at times, and the jargon is just, it feels like just a bunch of, I don't know, just like computer science majors talking, and they're not trying to include the commoner. And that's really, for me, as much as it is for you guys, I'd rather try to explain things in a way that's a little bit more simple. But we could see it's kind of cool. CBD, decentralized cross-border data platform, addresses the trust issue of cross-border communication, be used to promote tourism, cross-border trade, cross-border finance, overseas study. So that's pretty cool. And Compass X, open decentralized tourism platform as well. Yang Chang, or Yan, I'm not going to try. FAC is the world's first decentralized blockchain for idle assets. It aims to create investment opportunities through on-chain idle revenue sharing. Gives the community the chance to earn dividends from the income of promising idols and become a successful idle investor. And this is like a little Q&A, and just the team talking about what they think about, I guess, I don't know. I prefer to look at life through the eyes of a coder. Okay. Cool, bro. Feng Wang, work hard and stay honest. Cool. It matters more to say I trust you than I love you. Okay. Zifang Zhu of Mucklin. I'm sorry, guys. I'm butchering these words. Blockchain is about trust. I always say that it matters more to say I trust you than I love you. Well, when it comes to the blockchain, yeah, it does, but it matters more to say I love you when you're with someone you love. But whatever. Establish proper values and find the right path. True facts. True facts. And that's about it. So they are working hard. You can tell they are geeks, and that's a very good thing for what they're doing. And I'm sure there's some other news, but I honestly couldn't find much more other than talking about the white paper all over again, and I'm not going to do all that. If you want to hear more about XMAX, definitely check out my last video. I'll leave it in the description. And just know that this actually does have a lot of potential in my opinion. I just think they need a better marketing team. They need some Americans in there that are helping them with their website, making it look more presentable, making it easier for people to understand exactly what they're trying to do. So other than that, I think this is a very solid project. Okay, guys, I'm going to go now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of long, but you know what? Who cares? Okay, I'll see you on the next one. Let's get cryptical. Peace.